Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Hope all of you are doing well. We've got a new video for you today, and this time, we will be taking a look at some developments that happened in the life of the infamous Mexican drug lord Hector El Güero Palma Salazar, who is a friend of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. We have made an in-depth video on the life of Palma, so be sure to check that out to know the full story of Palma, the things he did, and other stuff. And trust me guys, you don't want to miss that video. My god, this guy has done some truly vicious stuff, and we have explained everything in detail in that video. In this video, we will be taking a look at an important development regarding Hector Palma. Until 2016, Hector Palma, who is also one of the founders of the notorious Sinaloa cartel, which is one of Mexico's deadliest cartels, was being held in a US prison for crimes related to distributing illegal substances. He was actually sentenced to 16 years in prison back in 2007, but it was reduced to 10 because of good behavior. Palma had been released from the federal prison in Atwater, California on the 10th of June 2016 and was put into the custody of US immigration officials. After serving almost a decade in a US prison, US authorities handed Palma over to Mexican officials. He was flown to Mexico City on 16th June 2016 and then later transported to the Altiplano prison just outside the capital. This was the same prison from which Joaquin El Chapo Guzman escaped back in 2015 before being recaptured. Palma was rearrested by the officials on his repatriation to Mexico for his probable responsibility in 2 homicides, which happened in the small Pacific state of Nayarit way back in 1995. The 2 victims of Palma were actually a deputy police chief and a federal official associated with the officer. It has been hinted that the deputy police chief apparently worked for the Sinaloa group but switched loyalties to the Tijuana cartel of the Arellano Felix brothers. Palma took the life of the 2 in retaliation when in the month of April 2021, he was actually acquitted by a lower Mexican court, though only for a short time. Footage of Palma leaving the Altiplano prison under high security was released by popular media. Victor Francisco Chavez Romero, the judge from Jalisco State District Criminal Court who absolved Palma, stated that the acquittal was on the basis of violation of regulatory principles in evaluating evidence and improper justification and reasoning of the process. It's also stated that there were several contradictions from many of the witnesses who testified against Palma. In addition to the aforesaid things, he also stated that the witnesses were not properly prepared or vetted and that their testimonies were extracted from other criminal investigations not relating to the ones of Hector Palma and were included in Palma's without proper evaluation. One of the testimonies said that Palma was responsible for illicit substance trafficking while he was in prison. He faced charges for stealing more than half a ton of illegal substances back in May 1997 from the FGR headquarters located in San Luis Rio Colorado, Sonora. The one who was apprehended for actually stealing the stuff worked for a man under Palma's organization, as this evidence was used to convict in Palma's crime. The judge stated that the evidence provided by FGR investigators did not fully prove the existence of a crime, which proves the involvement of Palma. It only proves the existence of the Sinaloa cartel, but not that Palma's associated with them. The judge also stated that it was a case of double jeopardy, which basically means that the person is prosecuted or punished twice for the same case. Although Palma was given a definitive suspension, the court established that he could remain in detention if any other judicial authority was available for a crime different from the existing ones. The Mexican authorities were in a pinch when this happened, as it would ensure major consequences, letting a top-tier criminal roam free. The April acquittal of Palma became a national embarrassment for the Mexican government under the administration of President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. It was especially worse since he is constantly accused of being soft on cartels, as he released El Chapo's son, Ovidio Guzman, back in July 2020. The country also had a bad history with released drug lords. For example, the kingpin Rafael Caro Quintero walked out of a Mexican prison back in 2013 with an improperly ordered release. He has since returned to drug trafficking and many more illegal activities and unleashed bloody turf battles upon the streets in northern Mexico. Struggling to keep history from repeating, prosecutors won a 48-hour extension to look for any outstanding warrants that could justify holding him. Both the Mexican Ministry of Public Safety and Foreign Ministry consulted each other and also with the US to find out if there is any case remaining against Hector Palma. The Foreign Ministry consulted the US to check if there was any request for extradition. To keep Palma in check was something that Mexico had to do immediately. Relief came when an appeals court threw out the acquittal, ruling that the organized crime case against Palma was not equivalent to trying him twice for the same offense. In July, Jose Luis Gonzalez, a magistrate of the 4th Unitary Court residing in Zapopan, Jalisco, revoked the sentence that acquitted Hector Palma of his sentence because of organized crime, for which he ordered his reapprehension. He also reinstated the procedure to search for 2 witnesses who testified against Hector Palma, who for 6 years have remained untraceable. The magistrate revoked the ruling of Victor Francisco Chavez Romero, which released Hector Palma, issued in May of this year. The witnesses in the case against Palma that the magistrate ordered to locate have the code names of Julio and Cesar. The first of them is a person called Marcelo Peña Garcia, who is the brother-in-law of the former leader of the Sinaloa cartel, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, and the second is a businessman from Sinaloa, Javier Burgueño Uria, who in previous years was wanted in Mexico and the United States to testify. Both of the witnesses testified against Palma and pointed out that he was behind the shipment of more than 3,000 kilos of illegal substances that was seized on July 19, 1999 in Tecomán, Colima, and also a plane with more than $12 million in San Luis Rio Colorado, Sonora on October 12, 1995. They were also the ones who pointed out that Hector Palma was the one behind the murder of the deputy director of the Nayarit Judicial Police, Antonio Contreras, and the federal official Jose Cruz Guerrero, a crime committed on May 18, 1995. In the same manner, they also accused him of the theft in the branch office of the delegation of the then Attorney General's Office, PGR, in San Luis Rio Colorado, Sonora, on May 21, 1997. A judge in Mexico ordered Palma to be held for 40 more days in a non-prison custody, pending investigation, achieving a temporary relief from what would have been international embarrassment if Palma had walked free. The Attorney General's office said the judge had granted an order to hold Palma at a detention facility while he was investigated on illicit substance and organized crime charges. Palma obviously was not happy with what had happened. His prosecutor had appealed that the reapprehension and the admission to the Altiplano Maximum Security Prison had to be declared illegal since the whole case process was full of irregularities. Palma's luck had run out as his appeal was rejected on the basis that the allegations raised by Hector Palma were unfounded, as the responsible authorities denied having failed to comply with the definitive suspension order he was granted earlier. The court also stated that the reapprehension represented an act which is not related with the definitive suspensions that was granted to him. With this, he still remains in prison, hoping for a new turn of events. It is fair to assume that an utter disaster was avoided by the Mexican authorities with this. Letting Hector Palma back into the streets is really a high-risk factor and something which might end in bloodshed. Even though he had an early release while he was staying in the US prison back in 2016 for good behavior, the psychological tests which were declassified by the US authorities after his release in 2016 portray him as a person of high criminal capacity and low social empathy. The test also revealed that he never spoke of the death of his wife and children. Imagine if he is released back into the streets. The 80-year-old boss will have the opportunity to show if he had calmed down and accepted what all had happened, or if he still has a thirst for revenge. So, there you have it, folks. This is what is going on in the life of former Mexican drug lord Hector El Güero Palma, one of the founders of the Sinaloa cartel. It's most likely that he will stay in prison for another long time. That's if his health permits. So, what do you guys think? Will something else happen? Another sudden release, maybe? Well, it will not be a surprise, as this guy is nothing short of interesting, and his life is already filled with some crazy situations. Do let us know what you're thinking in the comments. It's time to end the video, folks. Be sure to leave a like on the video if you loved it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We make interesting content like these all the time, and we put a lot of effort into making these videos. So, make sure to support us. Remember to stay hydrated. We'll be back with another video, and until then, cheers!